Yo. What's cranking, y'all? I'm Korean Bassin.
And I'm FISHERYIN.
Summer fishing can be some of the best fishing of the year. It can be very difficult sometimes because of how hot the water gets, all the pleasure boaters, all the pressure the fish gets, because a lot of people during this time of year are out fishing too. And to catch them during this time of the year, you really gotta know where to go, what to use, how to catch them, because these fish are gonna be so pressured, very finicky from that heat, of course. Me and FISHERYIN today, we've got, what do you say, about 10 or so baits lined up that we think are some of the best summer pond fishing baits. I think I'll go first.
Sure.
And by the way, guys, this is no exact order or anything. This is just my favorite baits to use. And I think with the sun going down and these long shadows starting to come out, I think topwater is one of my favorite ways to catch these summer hot bass in the evenings and early mornings. And even during the middle of the day, you can catch a frogfish in the middle of the day if you keep at it long enough. But with that being said, this is the Booyah Boss Popper in X-ray color. It is one of my favorite pond baits to catch these evening and early morning bass. When I'm out here, I usually don't throw this in the middle of the day when the sun's beating hot down this water. But once I start seeing those long shadows start coming out, the water starts really cooling off, I'll start throwing either this popper around open water and like structure and docks and stuff.
Oh, no.
Oh.
There he is. You got him. Good one? Ah. Yeah.
Well, something's good. Yeah. Now I know they're eating topwater.
Salmon.
Sea trout. Peacock bass. Oh.
Yeah. That was sick.
He just came up and slurped it.
Woohoo!
Oh. Oh.
Get back in there.
Oh.
Oh. That was sick. That's amazing.
Decent one-ish.
He kind of just gave up.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
If there's a lot of vegetation on the lake, I will usually throw something like a poppin frog instead. This is the Googan Poppin 50 frog. One of the things I like to do to this bait, with a frog, it's kind of like a 50-50. You're gonna miss like half of your fish most of the time. I'll boil the plastic down so the plastic is a little bit softer, and I'll also bend the hooks up just a little bit just to get the max amount of efficiency as I can out of this frog. Now, like I said, if you got open water, you got sticks, you got docks, I'd say throw the popper around. But if you got pads everywhere, like this lake, or you got grass, any sort of like stuff like that, I'd be throwing this guy. Dude, get him, bro! Oh. Dude, is that a big one? Both of them can play a very major part, but I'd say give both of them time. They're amazing summer baits. What do you think, Ryan? What's your next bait?
Yeah, so you've covered a lot of baits that you tend to fish very shallow. So I'm gonna be talking about the drop shot. One of the techniques that you mainly associate with wintertime fishing. However, just like in the wintertime, when the sun is out here blazing nice and hot, the fish like to move into those deep areas in your pond, your lake, your river. So just throw this right in front of their face into those deep spots around like 10 foot or more, and they will crush it. That's what I experienced today. I was throwing this drop shot shallow and I wasn't getting a single bite. The second I threw it into a deep hole, wham! Immediately, a sub 1 pounder. Let's go.
Ryan covered the drop shot. I love that so much. You can do so many things. It works all year round, big lake, pond, whatever. But if I had to pick one bait to use anywhere I went in the country, any pond, it'd be this guy right here. This is the Big Bite Baits Trick Stick and Junebug. I don't know what it is about Junebug, but during the summer, it seems like the big ones eat Junebug more consistently than any other color. And also, it's just my personal confidence bait. What I normally do is, I just get your little EWG. This is the VMC Ike approved 3-aught EWG. Let me actually get a fresh one. And what I do with mine is, a lot of people, they will just rig them up short, like they would a regular Texas rig, kind of like that, and push the hook through right about there. What I like to do is, I like to push it way up in there, and then pull it out. And what this does is, when the bass go to short strike it, you're more likely to get that hook point. It's better if you traditionally rigged it weedless, because if you just had that eyelet sticking out, that's gonna catch grass, your line's gonna catch grass, the knot's gonna catch grass. So I like doing it this. And it gives us a little bit different action. This is one of my favorite pond baits, and it just gets straight bit all through the summer. There we go.
There it is. Ooh. Good. You got it?
Yeah, hold on.
That's over too. Oh. Yeah, now I want to talk about one of the most versatile and underlooked baits, and that is the paddle tail. Something about this is that you can use it as a trailer, just bite off a part of it, or you can actually fish it how it is. Take a wide gap EWG, put it on, throw it weightless, or you could throw it with a weighted jig head, or you could throw it with the underspin, however you like it. Now, here's a little secret, okay? Rig it upside down, and this way, on a weightless hook, you can throw it on the top of the pads.
Oh yeah.
And it will stay up on top. Think about it like
a weedless whopper popper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this is a secret that not many people know. You're hearing it here, guys, on Korean Bassin.
I think for my next favorite pond bait would probably be a swim jig. Now, depending what your pond has, whether it's bluegill, shad, swim jig, definitely top 5 for summer pond fishing. Right here, this is the V&M Pacemaker, and I have a Strike King Rage Bug as a trailer, and this can represent many things. Even though this is in a bluegill color, this can look like a craw, it can look like some weird bug, I don't even know. For the most part, I'm fishing this thing like a bluegill. I'm casting it, doing those real long casts out there, working that rod tip. I'm giving as much action as I can. And what you really want is these skirts to flare up just like a gill. It's very versatile because you can fish it through open water, you can cast it into sticks, you can cast it into brush piles, you can cast it deep in these pads, and it won't get bit and it won't come through. And it gets the biggest bite in the pond. Oh!
Yes, and now I want to talk about the OG bait that I actually recently started fishing because this kid, he was like, hey Ryan, have you ever fished this? I'm like, no. He's like, you're missing out. So I'm talking about the Beetle Spin. Now this is a bait that oftentimes you can be in Walmart and you can just so easily overlook. When you're thinking about a bait that can catch them all, oh, how about an inline spinner or a rooster tail? But guys, this thing is, imagine a little spinner bait. That is exactly what this is. You just throw this thing out, let it sink, and reel it in just like a mini spinner bait. And as my friend Aaron today can tell you, it catches fish of all species, bluegill, bass, and even giant catfish.
Whoa.
Whoa. Good.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, that's good. All right, hey, keep him. Good. Keep him. Good. Whoa. Careful. Don't let it touch the boat. Oh, I got one too.
Got a nice catfish on.
What is this? What in the world? I did not know there was a catfish in here.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Don't reel anymore. All
right, just play him out.
Dude, Aaron.
Good job, dude. All right, guys, I cannot talk about pond fishing without talking about a classic Texas rig. Now, right here, I got a 1/4 ounce bullet weight with a VMC 3/0 and a Culprit original worm. Now this, if I had to choose one, it'd either be this or the weightless Texas rig to fish any pond anywhere. And especially this color, like I said, I don't know what it is about Junebug, but it just seems to get the biggest bites in a pond. And you can fish it in ultra clear water, still get bit. You can fish it in muddy black water and still get bit. Where you're gonna fish this is pretty much anywhere, really. You can fish it on grass lines, you can fish it in the pads, you can fish it around sticks and cover. This just seems to get it done. And I just like to cast it out there, drag it back real nice and slow, and this gets those summer finicky bass going. Got one. Oh, that's a good one.
Michael's got a good one. Oh, perfect. There he is. Woo, you ain't got a chance. Got him? There he is. That's... Let's go, Michael.
Let's go.
Woo.
Oh.
Got one?
Yo.
Oh, dude, that thing was running like
I know,
crazy. Right? I was like, man, Michael's about to catch a state record.
I think my last bait that I'd pick would definitely be classic Zoom Super Fluke. Just like the weightless Texas rig, you tie it on there, cast it out there, you can fish it on top of pads, you can fish it through cover, and you won't have to worry about getting snagged at all. I like to cast it out there, right on top of stuff, thick stuff, around timber, that kind of stuff, and jerk like a topwater, where it's busting on the surface like a shad, or let it fall and jerk it back slowly. Kind of have it like a jerk bait, almost like a hard jerk bait. My other favorite is skip it under dock, let it fall like a wacky rig Senko, and that'll straight get bit during the summer. Anything else, Ryan, you think?
Honestly, guys, here's a little secret. You take your regular Senko, you rip it in half. It's a smaller presentation. Just use a normal worm hook, and trust me, it looks really weird, but this thing in the past has caught me so many fish when the regular worm wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
All you gotta do is downsize sometimes. These fish, they may not be in the mood to go and slurp a giant worm, but then the second you present them with something so easy to nibble down on, they can't resist.
So me and FISHERYIN covered our favorite baits to use in ponds. Now what we didn't cover was where these bass go during the summer. And generally, all around the country now, the spawn is over and these bass are in post-spawn. So we take the rule, like on major lakes, that 50% of the bass are staying shallow and 50% are going back out to their deep summer spots. This also applies to ponds too. Maybe not on as great of a scale, but it still does apply. So on the screen here, I have this pond that we did fish that day. It's your very typical, like 2-3 acre farm pond. And what we have here is, so if I go down to this side, you'll notice it's a lot more straight and a lot less vegetation on this side. And this is because this is the dam side and it has a sharper drop off than the rest of the lake. Usually the side that's opposite to the dam side is the shallowest point of a pond. And during the spawn, the bass are gonna push up to the shallowest points of a pond. For example, this end right here during the spawn, the bass are gonna get up in here, they're gonna look for a hard bottom or sandy bottom, and then they're gonna make their beds there. When that's done, the water starts heating up, the summer starts getting in full swing. 50 of them are, again, gonna stay shallow, 50% are gonna go deep. Now that's a general rule, but for a pond like this, when you have a pond that has a lot of vegetation, a lot of cover like this, that number may fluctuate. So let's say, probably more, since there's a lot more vegetation, these bass wanna be in that vegetation. And during the summer, you have to understand that these bass, they want the cooler water, they want that oxygenated water, because during the summer, that water is going to heat up more and there's not going to be as much oxidation in that water. So these bass are going to be farther deeper into that vegetation under those pads and near where the water's flowing. So for example, if you have rain or if you have wind blowing that day, the bass will be more active because there's more oxygen in the water. So like I said, with ponds, especially if there's a pond that is very featureless and doesn't have vegetation on the side or any sort of cover like that, in the summer, your bass are more likely to go deeper. But if you have a pond, for example, like this one, where there's a lot of vegetation around the bank, most of your bass are gonna go under those instead of being out deep because it provides oxygen, and a lot of other bait fish are gonna be under there too, so they're gonna be where the food's at. And that hot summer heat, they're gonna wanna be under something too. Like they wanna be under an umbrella. They don't wanna be out in the middle of that sun. Like we don't wanna get sunburned out in this 100-degree heat. They're gonna wanna be under that thick stuff where that sun can't get through, where they can stay cool. So you're gonna have to adapt to that sometimes in the middle of the day, especially by flipping heavy tungsten, 3/4 ounce, half ounce into that stuff, preacher baits, flipping around the edges because you're gonna use that shade line, you're gonna use those lily pads as an ambush point as well. So during the middle day, these pads, this vegetation, whatever you may have, it's some sort of cover. They're gonna be under that cover more than anything during the middle of the day because they wanna get out of that heat too. Now there's tons of ponds, different kind of ponds. You got your commercial ponds, you got farm ponds, you got golf course ponds. And it can be some of the best fishing during the summer, but a lot of them are very different. For example, this one, like I said earlier, it's got a lot more vegetation around the bank, and it's not very deep. It's about 10 foot at most. So as a general rule, during the summer, when the water starts getting very hot, look for anywhere that's different, anywhere that has shade, especially during the middle of the day. Look for your shade lines. Look for things that are overhanging, anything that can protect the bass from the sun and let them cool off and get them out of the heat. And if that isn't working either, or if your pond doesn't have any of those, try deep water. If you think about it, in a pond where there's no structure or cover, they're gonna go to those deepest points to get as far away from that sunlight as they can, and that's where it'd be coolest, at the bottom of the lake. So you gotta try that too. And don't be, you always hear a lot to beat the bank and just go cast parallel down the bank. But if you got a, like I said, if you got a pond that's featureless, doesn't have any sort of sticks, vegetation, rocks, or anything like that, cast out in the middle, because that's where they're gonna be. They don't wanna be up shallow where it's boiling hot out there in the middle of the day. You can fish the right areas the entire day and still not catch one. And that's just simply because these bass are hot, it's hot out there, they're slow, they're not wanting to eat. It can be many things, but the biggest thing is it's gonna be hot, and they're gonna be hot too, and they're not gonna want to eat. So your best days are gonna be when it's cloudy out, when it's raining, when you have a day in the week where the temperature is a lot cooler than, let's say, other days. Like it's maybe 75 on one day, but the rest of the week it's like 90. That's the day where they're gonna be biting you. So that pretty much covers where they're gonna be in a pond during the summer. But as I wrap this up, as a general rule, remember, 50% are gonna be up shallow, 50% are gonna be deep. If your pond's got structure and cover, hit there first. If not, and if you don't have any, go deep. So in the middle of the day, you just gotta accept during the summer, it's gonna be slow, and it's gonna be tough, but you can still definitely catch them. All right, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We caught, I guess, around 15 fish or so. Biggest about 2 pounds. We didn't catch really any size today, but that being said, it was still an amazing day out in the water. I'm gonna try and start gearing this channel more towards informative stuff, because I know some of you out there really wanna learn how to bass fish. This sport's amazing. It gets you out in the water, gets you out in nature, it gets you outside.
And gives you a tan like this.
Oh yeah. With that being said, I'm Kareem Bassin.
And I'm FISHERYIN.
100% full send, never quit. We're learning the art of bass fishing.
One fish
at a time.
Oh. Got one. Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, perfect.
There we go.
There it is.
Ooh, good. You got it?
Yeah.
Come on, that's all good.